Hey ladies, my name is Jenny Chaffetz and I am the host of SIDELINE Sisters. Are you a busy mom, powerhouse professional, or high-achieving go-getter? This show is for no BS women who want to be inspired to get off the sidelines of their lives. Ever feel like you're playing small or safe or just on autopilot? My guests are relatable women who've gone on a journey, overcome challenges, and lived to share the lessons that we want to hear. These conversations will be funny, sad, scary, wise, encouraging, and most of all, real. So whether you're driving, doing chores, exercising, walking the dog, or just laying on the couch, settle in and enjoy. I want to invite you to take back your power, reignite your passions, and step off the sidelines. Let's go. Hey guys, it's Jenny. Welcome to this week's episode. If you've been following along for the last few weeks, then you've heard me talk about the rebrand. Well, oh my goodness, it's happening. And it's happening now, like way sooner than I had planned due to a little snafu with my GoDaddy account. No shade to anyone. I just didn't understand how everything really works. And because I am my own tech advisor and all things online manager, well, I just didn't know how things operated exactly. So I thought this transition would be a little smoother than it's going to be, because as of today is Wednesday, October 22nd, 2025. It's here. The new business is here. So the business, previously Gentle Coaching, is now the Flirty Vegan. Yes, you heard it here right now, the Flirty Vegan, because I'm talking to people who are flirting with the idea of going vegan, or the idea of getting healthier, or the idea of prioritizing one's health and wellness. So the website, The Flirty Vegan, is up and running, and this podcast will hang out here as SIDELINE Sisters for the next couple weeks so that I can officially launch with a special episode on November 12th. Now, if you have been tuning in and loving the conversations, you will continue to do so. Yes, I am changing the mission of my business to reflect my passion for veganism, but the underlying purpose of this show is to present inspiring people who have done really remarkable things in the world as a result of their beliefs and personal challenges and resilience. So regardless of whether you are a vegan or plan to go vegan, I believe you will find my guests fascinating, and you will definitely learn and be moved by what they share. So if you've been tuning in for a long time, or if this is your first time, please stick with me, follow or subscribe wherever you listen. It's going to be great. Now, all that being said, I want to offer you a free coaching session with me. As I get certified as a vegan lifestyle coach and educator, I'm giving you the opportunity to get curious and consider what this lifestyle might do for you. Now, if you're a midlife woman in particular, or anyone for that matter, chances are you complain about something related to your health. Maybe it's you exercise a lot, watch what you eat, but still don't lose weight. Maybe you sleep like crap. Maybe you feel bloated and inflamed all the time. Maybe you have skin or hair issues. Maybe you have some gut stuff going on, or reflux, allergies, hypertension, high cholesterol. Maybe you know people who are battling something you want to avoid, like diabetes, heart disease, cancer, Alzheimer's, chronic infections. The list goes on and on. So if you see other people dealing with medical stuff that you would like to prevent, then let's get on a call. It's free. There's no commitment. There's no pressure. There's no expectation. I would just love to have a chance to chat with you about your life and see if I can offer you any ideas, strategies, so that you can look and feel better. That's the goal. Look and feel better than you do right now. And hey, if you are living your best life and you feel like you have optimal health, mazel tov. I am so happy for you, and you can consider yourself a unicorn because not a lot of people say that they are thriving all the time. So, yeah, the link is in the show notes. Check it out, click, let's go, let's get started. Now, still going with the fashion image style series, I am super excited to present Rachel Mielke. And what's really fun is I learned about Rachel through my previous guest, Dr. Jody Carrington. And if you haven't listened to that episode, you will definitely want to check it out because Jody is brilliant, relatable, tells it like it is. So you can find my conversation with Jody in episode 88. I will link that in the show notes. Now for Rachel. Rachel Mielke is a dynamic entrepreneur, accomplished philanthropist, and sought-after speaker whose visionary leadership has left a lasting impact in business and beyond. Best known as the founder and CEO of Hillberg Berk, one of Canada's most celebrated jewelry brands, Rachel transformed her passion for design into a thriving multimillion-dollar company. Her journey from a small home-based business to becoming a nationally recognized success story exemplifies the resilience, creativity, and tenacity that define Canadian entrepreneurship. Rachel's philanthropic endeavors are deeply ingrained in her personal and professional values. Her company champions women's empowerment, and she has partnered with organizations across the country to fund education, mentorship, and opportunities for women, helping them realize their potential and achieve financial independence. As a highly regarded public speaker, Rachel shares her expertise and inspiring story on stages across Canada. Rachel Mielke is not only a powerhouse in business, but also a compassionate leader who believes that success is meant to be shared. Her legacy is one of empowerment, generosity, and the relentless pursuit of making a difference. We have a powerful conversation about what it takes to grow a business, the values that one needs to stand by to be an authentic leader, and how to tap into confidence and self-expression. Now let's get into the conversation with Rachel. All right, well, I am super excited to continue this series of fashion and style and beauty and confidence with the lovely and talented Rachel Mielke. So welcome to the show.
Great to be here. Thank you for having me.
You know, the listeners are all over the world, so perhaps some of them have had the good fortune of running into your products, your stores. It is, for anyone who goes to your Instagram or website, it's overwhelmingly beautiful.
Thank you.
And it pricks at the little nerves that make many of us want to just buy. So let's start this conversation. We're just going to dive in and let's address some of women's, maybe it's not fair to say problem or addiction, but time-consuming focus on consumerism. And you're a part of it. You put out things that we want to buy lots of. So what are your thoughts on the state of the world right now as far as wanting to purchase everything we see, especially the things that we think will make us prettier?
Yeah. I have a lot of thoughts on that and always have had a really strong perspective on building a brand in a world where we need to be incredibly mindful of our impact on the environment, our impact on how people perceive themselves in terms of how a brand markets to women. And from the outset of starting Hillberg Berk, I started this business at my kitchen table in a small prairie town in Canada, where if your product wasn't really amazing and long lasting, I wouldn't have ever made it. And, having grown up without really ever having access to any nice jewelry, any nice fashion, when I started Hillberg Berk, I wanted to bring a product to life that was incredibly high quality and long lasting, but also was at a really accessible price point. So I think the thing that makes Hillberg Berk special is we create this incredibly beautiful product that I think really helps women to be able to sparkle from the inside out. And we manufacture our product in a way that is like really intended to last. It is not fast fashion or fast jewelry. It is a product that when you purchase it, it's meant to stick around and be in your jewelry box for many, many years and not go out of style and be something that you can pass along. So for me and my philosophy on fashion is, and my personal philosophy on purchasing is, I would much rather purchase something that is incredibly well made, that is going to last me. I kind of think about, how can I purchase something that's going to last the rest of my life? So then I think really critically about what I spend money on. And that same philosophy extends into Hillberg and Berk, is like, how can we give people not only an incredible experience when they come into our store or shop with us online, but how can we give them an incredible product too, that really is going to make them feel special but last. And so we really are, unlike a lot of brands that are, fashionable and here for the moment, but may not be around in a season or two. We want to make a high quality product that really sticks around, and we make that product in a really mindful way.
I love that. Yeah, that completely aligns with my values because I have recently, the last 5+ years where it's been much more part of the conversation. You think. I mean, I don't even really buy books anymore, which is, I know some people love to have the full bookshelf, and especially when you see things like the home edit and they're all rainbow organized and it's like, oh, I want more, I want more, I want more. But I think I don't want. I can get it from the library. I can borrow it from a friend. I can, if I'm going to buy it used.
Yeah, I mean, that's the danger of social media, is that it really does promote sort of like what you don't have. And, social media is challenging for our generation. It's challenging for young people, for people my age. I'm 45,
Mhm.
and I think you have to get really clear about your value system. And then I think, are less impressionable about like feeling like you're missing out, if you feel like really rooted in a value system that makes you feel comfortable and confident and happy in who you are and what you have.
Have you always been a confident person? That you mentioned knowing your values. Have you always
Yeah,
felt like someone in touch with that, or did that happen at a certain point?
I think growing older, and especially like getting into your 40s, gives you sort of this beautiful confidence that I don't think I necessarily felt as much of in my 20s. However, as I look back over my life, I truly believe I'm here and I am the person I am today because of my family, in particular, my mother, and the way that my mother raised me, and the way that she made me feel confident in myself, even though, like, childhood growing up in the 80s it was really hard, and I experienced a lot of bullying and childhood trauma. And my mother was always this like steady presence in my life, every day reinforcing my value as a person, like no matter what I did, just my value as a person because I exist, and
Mm.
always painting a bright future of opportunity ahead of myself, even though I think it was an unlikely story to have kind of gotten from where I came from to where I am today. So I think she just really planted a seed of safety and confidence, and yeah, of like a value system of loving yourself, and being rooted in a strong family, a family that supported each other. And it definitely became a big part of who I am today and how I run my business.
Mm. So, in speaking to that point of going from humble beginnings or small town roots to something much bigger, how did that dream evolve? What was it like navigating that?
Yeah. So I grew up as a kid, and I didn't realize until my own kids were diagnosed with ADHD. I grew up an ADHD kid, but like didn't, no idea. No one had any idea. I
Right,
just felt
right.
kind of weird growing up as a kid and didn't quite fit in. So I sort of always had this feeling, and my parents were entrepreneurs. Both of my grandparents were entrepreneurs. I sort of thought that that's just what I was going to do and what everyone did. Um, so I sort of knew that I wasn't going to go down the traditional path of getting
Climbing a
a
corporate
job and
ladder.
climbing the corporate ladder.
Yeah.
Like, I knew definitively that was not for me since I was in high
Mm.
school.
Wow.
And like, entrepreneurship was definitely on my heart, the ability to create something out of nothing and sort of live your full potential. And so that sort of seed and that idea that I wanted to do that combined with I was a really creative kid and taught myself how to do a number of things, including like sewing my own clothes in high school and then teaching myself how to make jewelry in university. They kind of came together at this perfect like time and place in my life where I was starting to figure things out in my early 20s, and I decided to just try it, to just launch a business and try it. And it worked, and it sort of blew me away, out of the gate. And I thought, wow, I love this product and how it makes me feel. I love what this product can do for other women and how it can make them feel. And entrepreneurship, it's what I dream of doing. So I kind of just leaned into it at a time when I knew very little about what I was getting myself into. And I kind of think, thank goodness I was naive, because it's been a journey from then to where I am today. But I think a big part of success is not about what you know, it's about like resilience and being the last person standing through the challenges of ups and downs of entrepreneurship.
Hmm. So, speaking of challenges, throughout your career, like everyone, I know it was not a completely smooth, freshly paved road. What have been some of the hardest experiences?
Yeah, I think the hardest things have been when it's both it's like personal and business kind of coming together. And there was definitely like a moment, over the course of about a year, that I was most challenged, both personally and professionally in this business. I was diagnosed with cancer in January of 2020, like just a few weeks before we found out that COVID was closing the whole world down, and I was going to have to shut down all of my retail stores. And at that point, had no idea what was coming, if we were going to have to face bankruptcy, or what that meant in terms of like revenues just kind of like shutting off overnight. So that was a really challenging time, because my number one priority in my life is my family. And so facing my own mortality when I had two young children was really scary, and it caused me to really reflect back on my values of what was most important in my life, how I was running my business, and maybe not always honoring myself as my top priority in life through the journey of scaling my business up. And I look back and I just feel like really grateful for the lessons that came out of that, because it really level set everything and made it so clear of how I wanted to live my life going forward. So I really looked at how I was running my business and how I was spending my time. We looked at where we were living geographically and decided to move closer to family, move into an environment where we felt a little bit healthier, for an outdoor active lifestyle. We have now a beautiful organic garden that provides us with food all year round for our family.
Oh,
And yeah, just kind of like reassessed the intensity of my life in business, and found a way to really find that integration between running a company and being a mom and a wife, and someone who really takes care of themselves too. So although that was an incredibly challenging time, it carved a path for me to make new choices that I'm so grateful for today.
mm, that's such an amazing story. I mean, I've heard you and other people talk about the gift of a diagnosis or a tragic experience like that, but the lessons that are pulled from it are profound. I apologize for interrupting this interview, but I am curious. Have you ever thought about going vegan? Maybe you heard someone talking about it or read an article online, but you're thinking it sounds way too restrictive, way too extreme, way too boring. Not to mention all those concerns about protein. I get it. I've been there myself, and that is why I am in the process of becoming a certified vegan health and lifestyle coach. And during my course time, I am offering free coaching sessions to people who are in that hesitation phase, contemplating going forward, but definitely wanting help. That's where I come in. So please go to the show notes and click the link for free vegan lifestyle coaching session, and we'll get started. Now let's get back to the show. And I'm curious, with all the shifts that came from that time, did you ever encounter people who, in your life, friends, other distant family, who weren't supportive or didn't get it, didn't, what is this now with you in the garden? Or, I don't know. Like, why would you want to do that? Did you
I
ever?
I think we made the decisions pretty quickly. You know, I was diagnosed in January. COVID was March, middle of March. And we decided right away that we're going to reset our lives. And we sort of, my husband and I both had a vision for what that was going to look like. And so, you know, made the decision pretty quickly, put up our house for sale, packed up our stuff and moved. And I think people were just surprised at how quickly, but I don't think anyone in my life was surprised that we sort of just like prioritized what was most important. I think anyone that knows me or anyone that works for me knows my values and how I show up and lead our company from a place of values first. And that to me, again, that means like my family is my top priority. And you know, it means like leading my company the same way, ensuring that people come to work and know that they're supported to also put their family as their top priority, because in life things come up and things happen, and the bottom line can't be the number one thing that drives a business. It has to be the people first.
God, that makes, I'm sure a lot of listeners think I need to move to Canada and work for you because that sounds like the kind of value system I want to experience in the workplace. I love
Well, I
that.
think to me that's the challenge of like a capitalist society and too much consumerism is it tilts the balance of a people-centric way of living and a way of running business. And it has shifted too far to capitalism and consumerism and profit being the bottom line. And although we've seen the development of a triple bottom line over the last couple of decades, and a lot of companies realizing that this is the best way to run business, both for the communities we want to live in and having those feel like they're healthy, but also the workers that work within our companies. Because at the end of the day, people have to show up and feel like they're a part of something and that they're appreciated and valued, and that their values can really align to what they're doing. Otherwise, it's just a job. And you know, like you can't really build a culture, in my opinion, that supports an incredible brand and incredible product. So it's, you know, it's taken a journey to articulate that, to get that to the point that it's fully entrenched throughout Hillberg Berk, and that we fully hire on it, we performance manage on those values. And I would say everyone across our business really is a part of it, both in how they show up and they believe in it. And now we can be really critical about who we bring into the business, knowing that we're just bringing on, you know, the people with the biggest sparkle factor and people who really align to our values within HB.
Isn't that perfect? Sparkle factor. What is sparkle factor? I mean, not that you said it to mean anything bigger, but I'm just going to pull those words from you. What does it mean for someone to have sparkle factor? How do you judge that? What is that?
I guess if I was to put it in like simple terms, it's someone that like wants to leave the world better than what they found it, someone who is community minded, someone who has a strong rooting and a value system and wants to bring that to their work and their work life integration, and someone who wants to be a part of a company that's about so much more than just creating beautiful product, but creating a legacy, a difference. And you know, I'm passionate about how can we use our brand as a tool to make a difference in the community. I think the people who come into H&B have that same passion. So that is, you know, in a simple form, that's sparkle factor.
That's so great. And I do know this about you because I've gone down the rabbit hole, but one of the things that drew me to you was the community minded aspect of you and your brand. Can you share some of your favorite, I don't even want to say philanthropic because I feel like that's a box that people check and I don't like that, but the fact that it's so part of your soul, what what kinds of initiatives are you drawn to?
Yeah, so we're really focused on the empowerment of women, specifically the economic empowerment of women, because quite often that is the factor that sort of holds women back from being able to set up the life that they want, leave challenging relationships, really be able to make a difference themselves and their families and their communities. So we work really closely with an organization that I'm deeply passionate about, and actually sit on the board of the foundation in Canada. It's a global organization, including having a ton of chapters in the US, and it's called Dress for Success. And it is about so much more than just providing the women with a new like wardrobe, a new outfit. That's a big part of what they do, but that's just the first step in giving them a community, tools, confidence, just really a team behind them that says, you can do this, you can take this first step, and you can, like take this first step to financial independence. And so all of the women that go through that program in Canada, and it was about 8,000 last year, get Hillberg and Berk jewelry at the end of their suiting program, and just kind of a little memento to say, like, you've got this. And I'm passionate about that because so many of those women go on to change their life, and not just their own life, but their family's life, and really take back their financial independence. And to me, that's like such an important part of women being able to live their best lives, for whatever that means for them.
Yeah, it's so huge. I mean, so many, I was just talking about this with someone yesterday, as far as I know, your kids are probably a little younger than this, but with the college application process, there's always the talk of community service and what did kids do, how many hours, and have they done community service in order to apply for college? And I just find that, and I'll say it here, it's my show, I can say what I want, but I find that despicable, like to do good in the community for the sake of bettering your own circumstances. I just don't care for that. I think you do for other reasons. And there's a million other reasons
Yeah.
outside of ourselves. So I love that you are just so involved in something that's making a powerful impact. I love that.
I think like, and I think everyone can find something, that thing that they're passionate about, even if you feel like maybe it's not completely like obvious to you now. And, I think especially for entrepreneurs, like entrepreneurship can become disillusioning because it's can be a lot more challenging than it is rewarding feeling. And I sort of like, I think I just had, this understanding when I was starting Hillberg and Berk that, the money was never going to be what gave me any kind of satisfaction. I was never going to be any happier in my life with any more money. That to me, it was going to have to be like I was actually doing something with the hard work that I and my team were putting in every day, that we were actually doing something more valuable than just creating an economic impact. And it's really cool that we employ 200 people, and they're creating their livelihood through Hillberg and Berk. That is amazing. um, but what's even more cool is the fact that we're able to do things like, give to the women who are going through the Dress for Success program, and impact many other organizations across the country as a result of the work that we're doing, really leaving an impact.
What is it about a piece of jewelry that is so exciting and uplifting to a woman? What is that?
Yeah, I don't know, and I think I discovered it. I didn't have any nice jewelry until I was really starting to make it for myself. And I remember beginning to make things with nicer elements like sterling silver, and semi-precious gemstones. And I made this like first necklace out of supplies I had gone and purchased from this beautiful jewelry supply store. And I'd spent more money than I was sort of expecting to spend at that time. Again, like hadn't really ever had anything quite like that. I made this piece of jewelry and I put it on, and it changed the way that I felt. I felt like just like a more confident version of myself. I felt more like myself. And that
Mhm.
was a bit of an addicting feeling. And I thought, gosh, if I feel like this and it makes such an impact for me, I wonder if that will also be the case with other women. And I saw that right away as I launched my first collection. And I saw how women's eyes lit up when they picked up a piece and put it on. And it really it changed, a little bit how they felt about themselves. And, whether that's a piece of jewelry or a lipstick shade or a outfit that just fits you perfectly, I think having those things and investing in those things. And again, I think for me personally, it's about having high quality things that I know are going to last. It's really important to have those in your wardrobe. And I always like hope and believe that women feel that they can treat themselves to those things, because it's one of the tools that you have as you go out and navigate your life and navigate your own independence. You need to have whatever it is that makes you feel good. I hope that women can find those things. And I don't think it always has to be material things, but for whatever reason, nice jewelry struck a chord with me and has remained the same ever since.
Yep, you and so many others. Now, I've talked to a couple other women in this series about clothing and the question of capsule wardrobe and certain pieces that every woman should, and we debated about it.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a clear answer, but I mean, obviously you can go down that ridiculous abyss on Google as far as the pros and cons of a capsule wardrobe and what items every woman should have in their closet. When it comes to jewelry, what's your take on that? Do you think every woman should have a pair of diamond studs, a pearl necklace? What's your take? Because there are, like clothes, so many in and out trends. And my last guest did say something about there's no such thing as a trend. It's just marketing and selling practices. But when we see the gobs of gold chains layered and these trends that I perceive as trends, as current fashion statements,
Yeah.
what's your take? Do you think that there are jewelry pieces everyone should have, or just you do you?
So I am 100% about individual expression. And the thing that has always made me cringe is trends where everybody looks the same. And this feeling that you have to somehow buy that piece this season and that piece next season and fit into a certain like trendy mold that everyone else looks like. To me, that's like the opposite of what we should be doing. Like fashion is about self-expression and authentic self-expression. So our whole collection is about how can we create pieces that help people really express their individuality. And that being said, I also think that in my own life, I have really struggled with the time I have spent on fashion and beauty in my own life as a result of messages that I was programmed with growing up about how I needed to look and what was professional and what was expected. And I love to see my daughter buy into none of that at
Mm.
all. But it's really programmed in my brain since I was probably 4. So I like to think about how can I like hack things as simply as possible. And, one of the ways I've thought about my fashion collection, obviously I have a wide assortment of jewelry and love to be able to like pick and choose something, a new look every single day. But I think about fashion as when I find something I like, I want to buy that outfit in 2 colors and I want to buy 5 of them because when I'm getting up in the morning, I do not want to put any mental energy into my outfit any more than I have to because I know I'm going to need that mental energy for running my company and for my family. And so I have tried to think about, yes, building a wardrobe, but not based on what someone says it needs to be or these specific pieces. And I really believe that each of us has to build it ourselves based on what we feel good in. And we all feel good in different things. So I really don't think that there's rules around what you should build. Maybe that's helpful for some people because it could be overwhelming to get started. But to me, it's about like figuring out what you really feel most confident in and then just buying 5 of those. Like if you can find 10 things that you feel good in and you have 5 of each of those, you've got your wardrobe. And
Right.
every day when you get up, you don't have to think about it too much. You can just put something on and you feel good and you feel comfortable. And that makes a big difference in your day to day.
That's so it's like the Steve Jobs mentality. Just,
Totally.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'll take that turtleneck and I'll take 5 of them. Yep.
exactly. Yeah. And for me, it's nothing boring. I've got some pretty fabulous clothes, but when I find a brand that fits me or I find a silhouette that I like, I will like not think about it too much and just like I'll get 4 of those to make sure that I just like have that outfit now for the next 5 years. And
Right.
I'm never concerned about like outfit repeating. I want to buy high quality things that are made well and that are going to last. And if I wear that outfit every day on every Monday, then so be it. And if someone's judging me because I'm repeating an outfit, that's their problem, not mine.
I want to plaster that on a billboard and have everyone see it because that
Oh, it's
is
so funny. Like this conversation, I was just having this conversation around the dinner table with a bunch of women this week at an event that I was at. And um, yeah, it's sad how much of our brain capacity for many people it occupies worrying about what people are going to think or worrying about judgment or worrying about is it appropriate. Yeah, if there's one thing I could just erase from women's brains, it would be that worry.
right. Sorry to interrupt this incredible interview, but I have to tell you guys about vegan lifestyle coaching. Veganism is my passion. Yes, you've heard me say that, but so is health and helping people feel their best. We have become so complacent and tolerant of feeling crappy that it's mind blowing. And we have also accepted that we are all going to grow old and get sick. That mentality has to stop because it's not true. It doesn't have to be the inevitable course. Whether you've strongly thought about going vegan or it's just kind of come up in passing, doesn't matter. I would love the opportunity to get on a call with you to hear what's stopping you from going all the way and see if we can strategize together because this really is the healthiest, most joy filled, abundant way of eating and living. So be sure to check the show notes and you'll see a link to book this free call. Share it with your friends. And now let's get back to the episode. Right? So, how does someone erase that from their thinking and also scroll social media?
I think social media is a very dangerous place. And I think that for myself, I try to be very careful about what I consume. I think what you consume, the people you spend your time with, is ultimately how you end up looking at yourself and thinking about yourself and what you become. So I think like who you follow is very important. And I just think like limiting social media time is pretty critical for overall mental well-being and well-being in general. I mean, it's hard. It's a tool that's like incredibly addictive and it's designed to be addictive. So I utilize apps like Opal because I have to be on social media for part of what I do, but I utilize apps like Opal that just like close it down and don't let me access it
Yep.
to
Yep.
reduce the temptation. So I think you got to figure out whatever works for you. But I think social media is a really dangerous place because it leads you down a path of like worry about judgment, right? And
Yeah.
a moment you spend worrying about judgment is a moment that you are taking away from something great you could be thinking about or dreaming about.
Yeah. So true. I just recently went through my Instagram and knocked off about, I don't know, 70% of the accounts that I was following. And who knows, maybe they'll figure it out and backlash and unfollow me as well. And I'm okay with that. But I felt like my feed, even though I was intentionally curating it, it still was, people change the direction of what they're posting. So that one who was originally posting spiritual messages and tarot cards, now all of a sudden it's outfit of the day. And I don't want to see that necessarily. I
Yeah.
want to see more of the tarot cards and, fluffy lambs and things like that. And so I have completely axed a good amount of the accounts I was following to
Yeah,
preserve my mental health.
I think that, like kind of continual auditing of what it is you're consuming, again, whether it's through social media or your friend circle or anything,
Yep.
boards you sit on, that continual auditing of does this align with my values? Does this support me feeling good about
Yeah.
myself? If it doesn't, just be ruthless about cutting it out because there's just not enough time to deal with that.
That is the thing. That is the message right there that I feel is missing from so many people's consciousness is the regular audit.
Yeah.
I love that. So were there things over time, whether it was from your illness or COVID or just growth, that you have determined, no more?
Definitely. I mean, I think I am the type of person that also likes to really get like if I'm thinking about sort of like maybe personal relationships, give people really a chance and believe in the best part of people. Which maybe pre-cancer, I let too much, into my life. That was definitely a moment where it shifted and I became less tolerant. for, again, unhealthy interactions, again, because, you want to just, your energy is so important. And everything you consume, whether it's just conversation, social media, people you work with, my employees, everything impacts how I feel, and everything takes a little tiny bit of energy. So selfishly, I just want to be surrounded by people that I like, are good humans, our values aligned. And the older I get, the more I become really ruthless about ensuring that happens.
I love that message. I love that message for the listeners. So, everybody, please go back and listen to the last couple minutes again because that one needs to be repeated.
Yeah.
I think a lot of women, especially at this 40s plus age, get to, I don't know if there's a guilt factor or a discomfort. I mean, there are the people that are like, this is my life and I'm going to live it and I don't have time for BS. But then there's a lot of people who are just stuck in the safety of the status quo and don't advocate for their needs or don't feel like they have permission to do the audit.
Well, in order to do that, it requires you to look inside and to begin confronting things, confronting patterns. And it also challenges you to get really uncomfortable, first, because you have to dig through things and ask why. Why am I like allowing someone to make me feel bad? Why am I wasting my time on social media, like looking at things that make me feel bad about myself? Why am I not prioritizing myself and the things that need to make me feel good about myself as my top priority? Because if you are not feeling well, you can't be the best for everyone around you, but it has to start with yourself. And sometimes going in and asking those questions and starting to unpack that is painful, but it is the first step.
I know that's what our friend Jody likes to say, that go in, go out and repeat, go in, go out.
Yeah.
It is uncomfortable and I have done a lot of fat trimming in my life since COVID because I don't have the mental and emotional bandwidth for it.
Yeah. You don't owe anyone anything. At the end of the day, I think, I feel like I'll look back and regret time I wasted on, worrying about things or spending time with people who really, again, didn't align with my values in life. And so I try to keep that in mind as I go through my day to day.
Yeah. So, I mean, just to lighten this up, do you have a favorite piece of jewelry?
Mm. I would say, like, hard to pick a favorite. It's like, how do you pick a favorite child?
Yeah.
I'm always really excited about what's coming next, but I think that I definitely have like a sort of favorite experience of designing a piece of jewelry. We were incredibly fortunate to have been commissioned to design a piece of jewelry for Queen Elizabeth II when she was still alive. And that experience was so fascinating. And then that piece was designed and presented to her, and she went on to wear it so many times. And then that resulted in a second opportunity to make another piece. Those experiences making a piece of jewelry for someone like that was so fascinating, from the history of royal jewelry to, taking inspiration and figuring out how we were going to create a piece of jewelry for someone with a jewelry collection like she has. And,
I
figuring,
don't know what you're talking about.
is this going to speak to her, and will she like it? Will she wear it? That was a fascinating journey and such an incredible experience.
What was it?
So we created two pieces. The first piece was a commission from the Lieutenant Governor of Saskatchewan. So that's like the representative in the province of the Queen. And she was going to meet with her for the first time and wanted to present a gift on behalf of, the province, and obviously wanted a Saskatchewan-based company to be able to make that gift. And she really wanted, like, the reason she chose Hillberg and Berk was because of our social impact work and the things that we were doing specifically for women. She really wanted to share that message when she presented that piece. So the first piece we designed, we made this beautiful asymmetric floral brooch. We chose a flower because it's both like soft and strong, and such a, like a representation of resilience.
Mm.
And it was, the first piece was unlike anything like she has ever worn or has in her collection. It was a bit of a fashion risk in terms of creating like that sort of like very different piece. And honestly, I wasn't sure that she would wear it. It was very Hillberg and Berk and true to like our design aesthetic and what we make every day and what we see our customers in every day. And I was like, I really want to stay true to who we are and not make something that's totally different than what we design every day. And something about that piece, I think, really spoke to her because she went on to wear it so many times. We kind of joked internally that she must keep it on her nightstand because she just kept getting photographed in it over and over again. And what we learned throughout the process was, although her wardrobe was always made for her for the special occasion months in advance, and that was always pre-planned, the jewelry was brought to her, and she personally selected what pieces she was going to wear for every occasion. So it was pretty special knowing that she continued to choose that piece over and over again.
That's wild.
It was a pretty wild experience.
That is a really good story to be able to tell generations to come. That's so
Totally.
good. That's so good. Oh, I love that. So I told you I live in the Northeast US. What's the closest store to me?
The closest store to you right now is it's probably like our online store. You could come up to Toronto. We're
Okay.
rapidly expanding our footprint in Toronto. So
Okay.
we have a store opening in just outside of the GTA in Hamilton. We have one in Newmarket in Toronto. But if you're in the US, our
Yeah.
web store is incredible. It's fast shipping. We ship the same day. We have an incredible customer care team, and that's probably the simplest way for you to shop unless you're coming up to Canada.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
So
but who
Toronto,
knows?
that's
Maybe it'll be stores in the US in the future.
yeah, yeah, I'll keep my fingers crossed. But Toronto's a good destination, especially since they
Yeah,
have a tennis tournament every summer. So
exactly. Yeah, come on up. We're
that's
opening three more stores. So we'll have five stores in Toronto in the next year.
that's insane.
Yeah,
Wow. Congratulations.
thank you.
All right. So please, on that note, tell everybody where to find this gorgeous collection.
Yeah, so simplest is just online at hillbergandberk.com.
All right. And your social media is
Yeah,
actually
at Hillberg
quite
Berk.
lovely. I
Yeah,
mean, it is fun to see your conversations and, kind of the behind the scenes at the company. It's good stuff.
totally. I mean, I think it's always interesting to see the people behind the business. And as I mentioned before, we have some pretty like incredible people in our business. So, we like to try and feature our own team as much as we can and tell a little bit of our story of what we're passionate about, both from the design and product side to the purpose side of our business too. So you can get a little flavor of that through our social media for sure.
Yeah, it's so great. All right. Well, before I let you go, Rachel, I want to invite you to raise your glass
Okay.
so that we can say, oh, we have matching glasses. We can say cheers to be ruthless about your energy and prioritize yourself first.
Absolutely. Cheers to that.
Cheers. I am so grateful to you for coming on and sharing your story, pieces of yourself, your mission, and your thoughts about jewelry and fashion, because this was so fun.
It's been my pleasure. Thanks so much for inviting me, Jenny.
How great was that? And if you are watching this episode on YouTube or Spotify, then you saw how gorgeous this woman is and how phenomenal her outfit is. Just perfect for a conversation about fashion and beauty. Now, let's get into Rachel Mielke's notes from the sidelines. Number 1, social media promotes what you don't have. We know this, right? Get clear on your value system so you're less impressionable on what's missing. Number 2, a big part of success is not what you know, but resilience, being the last person standing when things are really hard. Number 3, bottom line cannot drive a business. It's people first. Number 4, Rachel talks about the sparkle factor. What is it? It's wanting to leave the world better. It's being community minded, having strong values. Number 5, fashion is about authentic self-expression. Number 6, women need to stop worrying about being judged by others. It's okay to repeat an outfit. That one was so good. Number 7, What you consume and who you spend time with is ultimately how you look at yourself and who you become. So we've heard this before, the idea of the 5 people you spend the most time with, but it's also all the other stuff you're taking in on a regular basis, which leads to number 8. In conclusion, it's important to do continual auditing, asking yourself if the things in your life, whether it's clothes or people or anything else, does this align and support me feeling good about myself? Be less tolerant of unhealthy interactions. And to do that kind of audit requires looking inward at your patterns. Like Dr. Jody Carrington said, go in, go out, go in, go out. So I'm very grateful to Rachel for this episode, and I will also link my conversation with Dr. Jody in the show notes. I want to remind you about the link in the show notes to book a free coaching session with me. No pressure, commitment, or expectations, just a conversation if you are curious about how you can look and feel better. Rachel can certainly help you look better when it comes to your jewelry, but I want to help you look and feel better in health and wellness. So if you think things are just not optimal, which is pretty much everybody, let's be honest, then book this free call with me and let's just talk about it. It's a no judgment call. I just want to see women out there living, operating, doing, experiencing in the best way possible. And from my conversations with people on a daily basis, it's not happening right now. So whether it's your nutrition choices, lack of movement, too much stress, not enough sleep, negative thought patterns, it all contributes to feeling crappy and staying stuck in that cycle, believing that that's just the way life is, especially as we grow older. So I want to just knock that on its side for you and show you what might be available with some little tweaks. So again, that link is in the show notes. I thank you for listening. I hope you're excited about this rebrand. And please join me next week for my final interview in this fascinating series about fashion, beauty, and style. I will be interviewing the beautiful and big-hearted Ginger Burr. She is an image consultant, personal stylist, and so value-driven. So I hope you show up for that one next week. And please tell your friends about this podcast. Tell them to follow or subscribe now, and then they'll be here in time for the rebrand. Have a great week. Cheers to you.